Aloha, this has been Kaneaiakala, and welcome to my new series on step 4, and we are on part 5, on page, in the 12 and 12, on page 45 at the bottom here. So we're going to just continue this series. We've been talking about ego and superior and inferior, and some of the fears of doing this moral inventory, you know? So we're going to dig into this a little bit more. So we also clutch at another wonderful excuse for avoiding an inventory. Our present anxieties and troubles, we cry, are caused by the behavior of other people. Oh, Jesus. People who really need a moral inventory. It'll be it's always somebody else. If only they would do this, if only they would do that, if only people would listen to me, if only people would just behave, if only, you know, we go into that. We firmly believe that if only they treat us better, we'd be all right. Therefore, we think our indignation is justified and reasonable, that our resentments are the right kind. We aren't the guilty ones, they are. At this stage of the inventory proceedings, our sponsors or mentors or therapists or whoever it might be come to the rescue. They can do this, for they are the carriers of the testing experience of this step. They comfort the melancholy one by first showing him or her that his case is not strange or different, that his character defects are probably not more numerous or worse than those of anyone else in the program or around in the world. This, the mentor promptly proves by talking freely and easily and without exhibitionism about his own defects, past and present. This calm yet realistic stock taking is immensely reassuring. The sponsor probably points out that the mentor that the newcomer or whoever's seeking help has some assets which can be noted along with his liabilities. This tends to clear away morbidity and encourage balance. As soon as he begins to be more objective, the newcomer can fearlessly, rather than fearfully, look at his own defects. And that's one of the greatest things about a 12-step program, is how open and free people are about sharing what's truly going on in their lives. There is no place that I've found anywhere besides maybe a therapist's office where you're in a group of people, and most people don't want to even do it anyway. But the fact that you're in a group setting at a meeting, say for instance, a 12-step meeting, and people are freely sharing about some of the stresses and challenges that they're having in their lives, not just their problems with whatever 12-step meeting they're in, whether it's alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, you know, whatever it might be. But the fact that they're there sharing openly, you know, it does something, you know, when you're there and going, wow, I'm not alone. Like, I'm not the only one struggling with these things, you know, and there's something really freeing about that, you know, and it kind of makes you feel a part of, to some degree. And it's not an easy thing to do, you know what I mean? Most people are like, wow, these guys are crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that's for everybody, you know what I mean? Some people are just, oh, I won't share that kind of stuff at a meeting. I'll share it with my mentor or with my therapist or whatever, you know what I mean? But in front of other people, sometimes the ego is too high, you know? Or whatever it is. It's just I'm uncomfortable with it, or whatever it might be, you know? And it does take a while, you know? It does take a while to get used to something like that, but it's quite freeing. The mentors of those who feel they need no inventory are confronted with quite another problem. This is because people who are driven by pride of self unconsciously blind themselves to their liabilities. These newcomers scarcely need comforting. The problem is to help them discover a chink in the walls their ego has built, through which the light of reason can shine. And you know, I'm glad that they point this out. It is not an easy process to do, you know, and hopefully whoever it might be can help them along and just be there, just be supportive. You know what I mean? And eventually, hopefully, the pain and suffering becomes so great that there's some willingness that peaks in. You know what I mean? That they realize that, well, okay, the thing that I'm doing maybe isn't working. Maybe I need to try this out. You know? So, but I like the fact that they say that the people who are not wanting to do an inventory are driven by pride of self, unconsciously blind themselves to the liabilities. You know, and as long as we don't want to look, for whatever reason, we just stay blind to it all. We don't want to look at all the nitty gritty. We don't want to take a look at ourselves. Let's just keep it there. Let's just forget. You know, we don't forget. Our recorder, our thinking doesn't forget. You know what I mean? So as much as we think we are forgetting, we are not forgetting. It is coming out in all kinds of different ways. You know, fear, like with fear is like a tree. Fear has so many different branches and leaves and so many different, you know, things. And that's what happens when we don't want to take a look, is that we live in constant fear. And we then tell ourselves that it's not fear. We build such a wall to protect ourselves that we don't think that we're afraid or that we're in fear. But everything else around us is starting to fall apart. There's consequences that are starting to happen. Yeah, there's unmanageability that's starting to happen, you know. And in spite of that, I still want to, as a matter of fact, what we normally do is grip even harder into holding on to me and protecting all of those past experiences and things that have happened. So first off, it can be told that the majority of the members have suffered severely from self-justification during their struggling days. For most of us, self-justification was the maker of excuses. Excuses, of course, for everything and for all kinds of crazy and damaging conduct. We had made the invention of alibis a fine art. We had to drink or act out or use this or use that or do a character defect or whatever it might be because times were hard or times were good. We had to because at home we were smothered with love or got none at all. We had to because of work. We were great success or dismal failures. We had to because our nation had won a war or lost a peace. And so it went ad infinitum. We are severe justification and excuses. We come up with all kinds of things not to take a look at me. Seriously. We thought conditions drove us to the situation we're in. And when we tried to correct these conditions and found that we couldn't, to our entire satisfaction, we went out of hand and became problem drinkers, problem addicts, problem gambling, whatever problem it is. It never occurred to us that we needed to change ourselves to meet conditions, whatever they were. It never occurred to us that we needed to change ourselves to meet conditions, whatever they were. And that's what has to happen. That is one of the if I am not the problem, there is no solution. It is one of the hardest things for us to do, is to take ownership that I am the problem. That all of the difficulties and challenges that I'm having in my life today is created by me, not by anybody else. To be able to take ownership of that, takes courage, strength, surrender, humility. probably one of the most important gifts or tools in this process of the steps, or in discovery of self. Yeah. Thank you again for following and watching, and I hope that you're able to pass these along to family and friends, or anybody that you think this might be helpful for, as I continue to just bring insight and just share my experience, strength, and hope in my own personal journey in recovery, you know. And I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys on part 6. All right, mahalo.